This is 2018 mains question GS1. Safeguarding the Indian art heritage is the need of the moment. Comment. So Indian art heritage is vast and diversified. So you'll be just dividing this answer into three parts. The first being the introduction, as you know. The second being the body, where you'll have to write at it needs to be safeguarded because, and then the steps taken by the government to protect the monument, and I mean the Indian art, right? So the first is the introduction. Indian art heritage is vast and diversified and faces several kinds of threat, and therefore it needs to be preserved, protected, and conserved. Preservation of Indian art heritage will not only conserve India's traditional knowledge but also will help in increasing India's soft power. The main being the soft power. Our Indian culture tradition is spread all across the world, right? Even the Indian cuisines are liked by most of the outsiders. Now, Indian art heritage needs to be safeguarded because the first being weak institutional governance. Institutions like ASI, they lack financial resources, expertise to protect monuments in a proper way. Then the threat of extinction, like Indian art forms, languages like Tikuli art, the Patnakalam painting of Bihar. Around 197 languages in India are either vulnerable, endangered, or extinct. Then environmental challenges like the presence of humidity, lack of care. There is a lot of rusting in the buildings because of the environmental changes, increase in CO2, and the burning of all these fossil fuels, etc. It impacts the structural integrity of structures like wall paintings in Ajanta caves. You can also see how Taj Mahal has turned yellow, right? Threats like smuggling, theft of artifacts, encroachment of monuments, etc. are prevalent. For example, nearly 4,500 artifacts have been stolen from India between 1992 to 2017. Constitutional duty safeguarding Indian art and heritage is both a part of directive principles, that is Article 49, and fundamental duties, that is Article 51A Clause F in the Constitution, right? Are these enforceable? No, these are not enforceable, but inspiration has been taken from this, right? Lack of data. There is no proper documentation of Indian art and heritage, which is evident from the Ministry of Culture. Now, the steps taken by the government to protect and preserve the Indian art. The first is the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act 1958. So this act provides for the preservation of ancient sites and monuments of national importance and provides for the regulation of archaeological excavations. Then second is you have to prepare a database of all the built heritage sites. This is National Mission on Monuments and Antiquities. Then adopt a heritage. Apni Dharohar, Apni Pehchan scheme. This is an initiative by the Ministry of Tourism along with the Ministry of Culture and ASI to improve private sector participation in the conservation of Indian heritage. The National Heritage City Development and Augmentation Yojana scheme. This is to combine economic development, urban planning, and heritage conservation. Right, you'll have to include the schemes. Scheme for safeguarding the intangible cultural heritage by the Ministry of Culture to safeguard India's living tradition on painting, handicrafts, etc. The Indian Pride Project. It is a private voluntary organization committed to tracking and bringing back images stolen from Indian temples back to where they belong. So far, there have been around 575 Indian artifacts recovered. Then Parliamentary Standing Committee recommendations like mandatory physical survey of all the CPM sites, involvement of local communities like panchayats, local police in protecting the monuments, and using GPS or geotagging to trace the monuments need to be followed. Thus, collective efforts by the state, people, and private sector are needed to protect our art heritage. So this should be a conclusion. This is just like way forward in a summarized way.